Hey, welcome back, guys. In this video, we are going to practice solving one-step rational equations. So there's 4 rows. I'm going to solve one from each row, and hopefully this helps out. All right, so the first one, it says x plus half is equal to 11/12. So what we do is we use inverse operations to undo the plus. Our goal is to isolate our variable. Right now, it's not isolated. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to subtract half from both sides because half minus half is 0. So now my new equation is x equals 11/12 minus half. Well, we can't take away half. We have to get a common denominator. So my common denominator is 12. So half and 6/12 are equivalent. And so this will simplify to 5/12. Okay, so let's recap what I did. I used inverse operations, meaning I subtracted because it was being added. So I'm going to subtract half from both sides. I needed a common denominator. And so half is equivalent to 6/12 to give me my common denominator of 12. And then I subtract 11 minus 6 is 5. And then my denominator stays the same. All right, so let's go to the subtracting equations. When you add or subtract any problems with decimals, you definitely need to line up decimals. What I see most kids want to do is line up numbers. We don't line up numbers. We line up decimals. So this was minus 2.54. So the inverse would be plus 2.54. I'll add a 0. You don't have to add a 0 as a placeholder. It's not a teaching method. I just think it helps kids. So this would be 0 plus 4 is 4. 12, 7, 8. So if I was correct and I wanted to double check myself, I could go back and plug it in and put 8.24 for the x, and the left should balance out. They should be, the left side should equal the right side. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to do 2/5 x. So I'm going to first show it with the model. So 2/5 of x is equal to 8. So I'm going to break it up into 5 parts. And then I'm going to shade in 2 of them. Now keep in mind, 2 of them equal 8. So if both shaded equal 8, we need to figure out what each part is worth because I want to figure out what 5 out of 5 is or 1 whole is. So if you guessed 4, you are correct. 4 times 5 is 20, so x equals 20. Now, if you'd rather solve it algebraically, I can do that. So 2/5 times x, the inverse operation is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2/5. And when you divide fractions, you actually multiply by the reciprocal. And so x equals 40 halves, which is equivalent to 20. All right, let's do one more problem. So this says x divided by 12, which also can look like this. Okay, so the inverse operation of divide is multiply. So I'm going to multiply the left side of the equation by 12, and then I'm going to multiply the right side by 12. When we multiply decimals, we don't have to line them up. All we have to do is just line up numbers and count decimal places. So there were 2 decimal places on 9.15. There's no decimal places with the 12. So my answer has to have 2 decimal places. All right, so let's go ahead and solve. 2 groups of 5 is 10. Carry my 1, 2, and then that's 3. 2 groups of 9 is 18. And then I'm going to multiply 1 by 9, 1, 5. And now I'm going to go ahead and add. And your answer has to have the same amount of decimal places. So if you had 2 in the question, you would have 2 in the answer. So my answer is x equals 109.8. I can plug it back in. 109.8 divided by 12 should be equal to 9.15. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this helped.